But then there's also an element where the people are not mentally ready for some of this information, because look at the way they conduct themselves in society. Look at the way that people are very immature today. They used to be, the government didn't baby the people so much in the past because the people were very independent. And even if the government offered them mechanisms to be babied and have the government be their parent, they rejected it wholeheartedly because they knew they wanted independence and freedom, and that anybody who relies on the government and the media and all these different, major things to sort of tell them how to think, tell them what to do, and control their lives, it would make them weak. And they knew that back then. So they were always independent and would never voluntarily take help from the government or have the government involved in their life in any capacity if they could help it. But the people today are very weak. Not everybody, but there is a good portion of the population that is, and relies on the government to take care of them cradle to grave, and relies on the media to tell them everything that they should think. And then they go out in the world and they regurgitate that same information to other people without having a free thought for themselves. On top of that, you also have people that are very immature in their lives. You have people that, just look at the past generation. By the time they were in their teens or 20s, they were already doing big things with their lives, having families, having careers, going off to the military, fighting wars, all kinds of things that really grew them up very fast. And that's not always a good thing because it robs them of their childhood and their innocence, but they were much more mature at a very younger age. Today, you have adults that are living home at 40 and 50, and they're still living with their parents, and their parents have been taking care of them their entire lives and are still taking care of them today. That's an immature person. You have people who are grown adults, and they have a wife and kids, and they're playing video games on a Saturday afternoon when they should be taking care of things around the house or being with their children or helping their wife or just spending quality time with the family. Instead, they're playing video games on a, live streaming with someone else in another part of the world that they don't even know in person. But they're, doing that instead of doing what they should be doing as a grown adult. So how could you expect a government to honestly give critical information, and information that sometimes could be so big and so elaborate and so just unable to be comprehended by the average person, that how could you expect them to give that information to a public that acts very immature?